every industry, mark my words, every industry is going to be disrupted except the industry that is causing or is helping with disruption. Still at AOL, I'm an executive and I'm leading the life in the US. And traditionally, you get together with friends and loved ones on weekends, and you sit around and the usual conversation. We all sit around and talk about the frustration with Pakistan and oh my God, and such great potential and why aren't we doing things? And I quickly recognized that we were all looking at the glass half empty. So I said, look, I want to do something. I want to change this. So I started bringing it up to instead of like sitting down and arguing about, how Pakistan can be improved by people living in Pakistan and not making any contribution. I said, let me try to do something on my own. And I tried to convince a couple of friends, but they weren't interested or they were just very skeptical about things. And I said, look, I'm just going to do it myself. So firstly, I had my reason and purpose. Is that I want to make a change. B, I separate myself from people who have negative mindsets, which is now thinking positive, right? And surrounding myself with positive people, which is people who actually have done things and will not always discourage you. And then thirdly, you have to believe in yourself, right? Look at Muhammad Ali, right? He taught himself how to box and he convinced himself that he was a world champion before he became a world champion. So I convinced myself that, I can do this. And then all you need is a partner in crime. So I call up my brother and say, hey, quit your job and we're doing this. He's like, really? I'm like, yes. So, and then it was business backwards, where without having any sort of concrete plan, we said, okay, let's go try to create activity. So my idea of generation of activity was like, let's get clients. So I had no idea how to do sales, but I had confidence. So I just started walking into restaurants and local businesses and asking them, hey, would you have a need for a website, a logo, just doing sort of low-end marketing work. People thought I was crazy. Of course, I also went to my friends and family network and say, hey, we are doing this. And after some point, they start returning your phone calls. They'll throw you a bone here and there, but they're like, hey, don't call us, we'll call you. But you learn a lot when a restaurant owner walks you out or shuts the door on you. You really separate yourself. You're like, what are you doing? Is this going to discourage me, right? Is this the pebble in the shoe that is going to keep you achieving the summit? Muhammad Ali says that too. It's not the pebble in the shoe, right? That should discourage you. So we started off with literally, mom's kitchen, which is we lived in a small flat, and the small flat had a small room next to the kitchen. Literally our first lab, if you will, was Zishan. He's very innovative. He bought a wooden plank and he installed it. That became our desk. And he hired one guy, and that was our QA, web designer and developer. And that was it. And I remember that at lunchtime, mom would cook, and of course, she was fantastic cook. And it's like, wow, we're all hungry, so let's share the food. Since then, lunch is provided every day at 10Pearls, and we haven't missed a beat since that day. And then, of course, we then grew out of that office into what we call a little shop or dukan here, right? Where we remember we had to like climb up the stairs to get in there, and by the time you get there, your pants would be like just, have all that sort of calcium paint, the white paint that you put on, the tuna, I think it's called. So we've come a long ways. But it was, hey, we have to reinvest in the business and not be ashamed of where we are. I was helped tremendously by the school I attended. I received a scholarship studying at St. Patrick's High School. I remember the late Bishop Lobo, sitting down with my dad and me personally, to making sure that I got a free education, because at that time we couldn't afford it, and then going to college, earning a full 4-year scholarship, firstly from Bard College, which is my undergraduate, and then pursuing my PhD at UNC Chapel Hill. And I realized if I hadn't gotten the opportunity, I would have probably been a very disillusioned young person. And that's when I realized that, look, creating opportunities for the youth is extremely important, and giving them hope, right? It's both ways, because you have to breathe in oxygen, and then you have to have the means to go somewhere. We live in a sort of a multi-family structure. You know, somebody's income can help many members of society, many members of the family. So it has almost an exponential effect, right? Creating one job can help feed many members of a family. You know, in our company, we have a thing. It's not always be selling, always be closing. It's always be hiring, because this is a constant need. And we've established ourselves as a world-class brand, right? We've got great customer activity. Why? We don't have a sales team like other companies do. Word of mouth. You know, people know us, that we deliver, right? We provide things at an affordable cost, at very high quality, right? And we are different. We're helping them, you know, think through their business pains, and not just saying, hey, here's a bunch of developers, we'll go figure it out. It's important to focus on adding value versus getting fame, right? A lot of folks I've spoken with are more interested in getting their word out, right? It's infinitely more powerful when somebody finds out about you and discovers about you. Oh, wow. I'm not saying marketing is bad. I'm saying if you market yourself too high and there's nothing to back you, you know, you lose credibility very quickly. So I think, you know, sometimes the social media is negative in the sense that it sort of makes you focus on things that are maybe not as important. So I would say that try to stay away from the limelight, right? But earn your way up through value. We have about 450 plus people. We are growing. We're headquartered in Washington, D.C. Area, and we have offices in Karachi, Pakistan, Medellin, Colombia. We have offices in Dubai, and we now have growing offices in Europe as well. And in the US, we have presence in San Francisco and New York City as well. So people used to ask me, how often do I travel to Pakistan, Karachi? I said, I'm always there. I said, what do you mean? I said, I have a brother who's fortunately younger, so he listens to me, working in Karachi, and he really is the backbone, has helped me build a great culture, a great team, and a very nice environment, innovative family environment. If you talk to our employees, they love working here, and there's no way I could have done that being so far away. So Zishan now here has a formidable team, right? In human resources, in project management, in technology, right? Now in sort of advocacy and marketing, and we've created like thought leaderships in terms of 10Pearls Labs, which is our sort of innovative arm to experiment on new tech, emerging tech that's coming out, exponential technologies that we call them. He's helped build 10Pearls University, which is a platform for not just 10Pearls employees, but outside technical subject matter experts to come in and contribute to the overall learning of where technology is headed. And I'm so proud that great brands like Microsoft, etc., have come in and used our facilities as well. And then along that, we live in a pluralistic society, so we've really made sure that we have good representation of people from all different religions, ethnicities in our company. And then last but not least, but most importantly actually, is to increase female participation in our company. And we did that initially in a deliberate way, but now we can't escape it because most of the developers coming out that are highly qualified are women, which is an amazing turning point for our society, because now you can see that if women are educated, our kids have a tremendous opportunity. Now it's no matter a hope, actually it's going to happen soon, that we're going to have a child who's going to just supersede all expectations and break out. Sort of think of yourself as just a back office, is doing yourself a disservice. And I would say that, I'm running a front office business. Why? Because technology is going to change the world, right? And it's the ability to understand the challenges of businesses, right? And helping them take the leap and transform. If not, then a startup out of Silicon Valley is going to come and butcher them. Sometimes you are running, 1,000 miles an hour, right? And you expect your team to also be running 1,000 miles an hour. And that's an unfair expectation. Because, absolutely they're motivated, but not to the extent that you are. I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs are kind of crazy. Secondly, when you're running so fast, you fail to appreciate other folks, family members whose life is not running as fast. It's important to also work on sort of your spiritual health. And that's what's helped me sort of be grounded with my family and my wife, who's been a very critical contributor in my success, is to help me stay grounded. Being on top, I think you need not be alone. If you are smart, you're going to build a great executive team and you're going to surround yourself with them. And that way you got maybe 5-6 guys who are alone versus one person. When you say Pakistan, I just don't consider that question to be posing to just the government. I think the successful people, the entrepreneurs, the industrialists, the people who have been here, have been very, very successful since the inception of Pakistan, they need to step up, right? They need to recognize that they've been blessed, they've made great money. It's the ecosystem that's helped them. So it's now their turn to go give back to the population of Pakistan. Because without that, then it's just one way. And I think that's a responsibility that I personally feel when we're doing, but there's so much that could be done by folks who had it from day one.